Thomas Smith versus Indiana, State of Indiana, Bernard Carter, 45-1302, MI 29. Have an agreed amended order. Is that what we have?
Yes, Your Honor. Added on, prosecutor signed it, and it's, I had prepared the wrong form of order for the last hearing.
What's the effective date of this paragraph?
That I wasn't certain of, Your Honor, and I wasn't certain what date to put in. Should it be the date of the original order, or should it be the That's what I wasn't certain of. The other order was entered by the court on April 16th.
Does he have restricted licenses then?
No. The Bureau would not issue him one based upon the order that was previously entered. So that's why I was uncertain.
So is there a difference? Does it make a difference?
I don't think effectively it will make a difference if it's April 16th.
Want to be dated today?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next case is Susan Bearden versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45-C01-1304, MI 961. Are you Susan?
Yes. Steve's not here.
Is that your lawyer, Steve Mullins?
Yes.
Is he supposed to be here?
Yes.
Why don't we will pass it? We'll see if he shows up.
What?
We'll pass it till he shows up.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Have a seat. Michael Turner versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45-C01-1305, MI 66.
Good afternoon, Judge.
All right. For the record, you are?
Attorney Shane O'Donnell.
Okay. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
State you appear by with the state's name for the record.
Caitlin Padula.
Okay.
1 second. Judge, I would call my client Michael Turner to the stand.
Take the stand, Mr. Turner. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God. Please be seated.
Can you state your name for the record?
Michael Turner.
And when is your birthday?
10/23/1973.
And is your social security number 305-922719?
It is.
And where do you currently reside?
1860 Great Lakes Drive, Dyer, Indiana, 46311.
And is your driver's license number 16700170061?
It is.
And are you currently suspended in Indiana?
No.
Is your license currently expired in Indiana?
It is.
And did you try to go get a new license?
I did.
And what did the BMV tell you?
They issued me a letter that there was a hold from the Secretary of State's office in Illinois, and the matter had to be rectified.
And was that hold because you had 4 prior DUI convictions?
Correct.
And in Illinois, is there a law that basically states that if you have 4 prior DUI convictions, your license is forever revoked in Illinois?
To my knowledge.
And did Indiana explain to you that you would not be able to renew your license because of this lifetime hold in Illinois?
Correct.
And are you considered HTV in Indiana?
No.
A habitual traffic violator?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And where are you currently employed?
St. Catherine Hospital in East Chicago, Indiana.
And how long have you been employed there?
Approximately 19 months.
And how far of a drive is it approximately mile-wise?
15 miles.
15 miles there and 15 miles back?
15 miles one way.
And since your license has been expired, how have you been getting to work?
Either a cab or my wife and our 2 children.
And how often, how many days per week are you having to get a cab?
Almost every day. If I'm on the way in, and if the cab service is not prompt, then my wife.
And how often, how much money per week would you say you spend on the cab rides?
It's $45 one way, so a few $100s a week.
And has this been a hardship on you and your family trying to get you to work every day?
It has, with a 19-month-old and a 3-month-old.
And how many hours approximately do you work per week?
Between 45 and 55.
And are you on call at your employment?
I am.
Okay. And what do you do?
A certified registered nurse anesthetist.
And if you were not able to get to work, would you be able to support yourself and your family?
I would not.
And do you now possess automobile insurance in Indiana?
I do.
I have no further questions.
Nate?
Mr. Turner, is it correct that all 4 of those OWI convictions occurred in the state of Illinois?
No. That is not correct. 2 were in Indiana in the early 90s, and 2 occurred while I was driving in Chicago.
The 2 most recent ones are in Chicago?
Correct.
State has no further questions.
What was the 2 most recent ones?
2010, Your Honor, and 2007. January 2010, suspension expired in April of 2010, and August of 2007, suspension expired in November of 2007.
And he qualifies for it.
It would appear that he qualifies, Your Honor. I am not entirely positive how to rectify the Illinois hold on his license, however.
How do you rectify that?
Judge, I can tell the court that he has always held an Indiana driver's license. He has never held an Illinois driver's license. And I was going to write a letter also to the BMV and see if there was something we can do to get him to be able to renew his Indiana driver's license.
Okay. Is there anything further for this witness?
Nothing further.
Anything further?
Judge, I do have one follow-up. You have always had an Indiana driver's license, correct?
That is correct.
No further questions.
You can step down, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I'm wondering if the Bureau is going to send this back to me. They've been doing it, they haven't been granting these. I wonder what authorities, I mean, the 5 years hasn't even left, has it?
The 5 years for the... He's not considered a habitual traffic violator, Judge. His license is actually considered valid in Indiana. It's just
Valid
expired.
license in Indiana?
That's my understanding, Your Honor, that it's simply expired and that he cannot renew it due to this Illinois hold.
Well,
It's an
how does it
unusual
get rid of the
situation.
hold? 'Cause this doesn't get rid of the hold, does it?
It does not get rid of the hold, but it gives Mr. Turner the peace of mind to know that he's not going to get pulled over and get ticketed for having an expired license.
What is he going to be driving? A hardship license or a license? What does this give you?
This gives him a restricted license just if in case he is pulled over by a police officer, they do see that he is legally allowed to drive to and from work at the very least.
And he qualifies for this under the statute?
Yes, Judge, I do believe so. The only
He's
thing
not an habitual, so
He's not.
then where are you getting the authority to give him a restricted license?
Judge,
Sounds like he should have a license.
Judge, based on the fact that he is currently not suspended, I would actually say that he's in a better position than anybody else that applies for this restricted license. So that would
Don't you have to be suspended to have a restricted license?
normally, Judge. This is an unusual situation, and we are respectfully asking the court to grant this petition.
Well, does the state have any objections to this?
No, Your Honor, the state does not object. However, we note that he is not a visual traffic violator. And
I'll grant the petition, but I don't know under what. I've never seen when a person has a valid license and needs a restricted license. He's either valid or he's not.
Right.
All right.
I do have an order, if I may approach.
You may- What these orders have to have license number and all that. Yeah, we need that. License number, where he's going.
That's my own.
Oh, all right. Okay, you said. No, he's going to send it.
You know what, I'm going to amend the order, actually.
All right. Lawrence Bouquet versus Commissioner Motor Vehicles, 45 C01, 1304, MI 59.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Miss ma'am, want to take a stand? Raise your right hand and be sworn. You solemnly swear affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
State your name to the court, please, and spell your last name.
Florence Marie Bouquet, B as in boy, O-Q-U-E-T,
And Florence, what is your present address?
2529 East 23rd Avenue, Garrett, Indiana, 46407.
How long have you lived there?
4 years,
And what is your date of birth?
6/22/1978.
And are the last four digits of your social security number 0510?
Yes,
Florence, you are a single parent at this time, is that correct?
yes,
How many children do you have?
3,
They're all minor children?
yes, 15, 10, and 9.
You have previously been adjudicated by the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles as an habitual traffic offender, is that
Yes.
correct? And that occurred in October of 2007
Yes,
and was a result of an operating while intoxicated, multiple convictions, the last being in September of 2006, is that correct? To the best of your recollection?
no, my last arrest was June 24th, 2006, 23rd of 2006.
And since that time, have you had any other convictions
No.
for OWI or any other motor vehicle infractions
No.
of any type? Since you've been adjudicated a habitual traffic offender for 10 years, have you had any type of traffic infractions whatsoever?
No,
Are you employed, Florence?
yes,
And would you tell the court where you're employed at the present present time?
I am currently employed at Denny's Restaurant in Lake Station, Indiana, and also I own S&T Landscaping.
And at the time you filed this petition, you were also employed by Central Markets, is that
Yes.
correct? You still have a employment status with them, at least being on call for certain times of the week or certain times of
Yes.
the day, is that correct? Your landscaping job, is that a business that you operate by yourself?
Yes,
And how many years have you operated that?
several. Since I'm almost 20. I had stopped for a while because I got injured, so I went to seek employment elsewhere. It was Central Market and Denny's, and since I've been rehabilitated with that, I reopened my business back in the last month.
And that is a seasonal job, is it not, from basically April or May in the spring until fall?
Yes,
The Central Markets job was a job you were working full-time during the winter, is that correct?
yes,
And is it also your intent to return to that full-time during the off-season from your seasonal job?
yes.
The job that you have at Denny's Restaurant, what do you do there?
I'm a server.
And what days of the week and what kind of hours do you work there?
Fridays and Saturday nights, midnights, and also sometimes dinner rush hours between 4 and 10 as needed.
And your job as a landscaper is during the week?
Yes,
And
5 days a week,
What are the normal hours of that?
roughly from 8 in the morning till 6, 7 in the afternoon.
Your job with Central Markets, what did you do there?
I was a deli clerk.
And your hours there were basically what?
Ranged anywhere between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Now, you also hold a position with the city, or with an agency, I should say, of the city of Gary, with the Marshalltown Terrace Committee, is that correct?
Yes.
What is your position with that?
I'm the secretary of Marshalltown Terrace Community Council that works alongside the city of Gary
And basically, you attend meetings for them?
regularly.
Are there also other functions that you're required to be present at in
Yes,
that capacity?
I do the landscaping throughout Marshalltown Terrace, also alongside Apostle Lease, as he works alongside 18th Avenue, 9th and 8th Avenue, also Gary, doing rehabilitation and cleanup of the neighborhoods and taking back revitalizations.
Now, you've been without an operator's license, obviously, since you've been adjudicated an habitual
2006.
traffic offender, is that correct?
Yes,
Do you have need of a license at this time
yes,
for your employment?
yes,
Do you also have need of a license to support your family and yourself and your children?
yes,
Do they rely on you for support and assistance
Yes.
financially?
for everything.
Do you have access to, or will you have access to, an automobile?
My fiance, he owns a vehicle that allows my family and friends and his family to drive me to and from work.
Is that what you've been doing so far, at least to this
Yes.
point in time? Has that been an inconvenience or a problem for you?
Severely. Now I'm down to pretty much my last resort is my sister, which is pregnant and supposed to be on bed rest.
And she's been assisting you lately?
Yes.
In transporting you to and from your job?
Every day.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Is it, I'm sorry, am I pronouncing it correctly? Is it Miss Bouquet?
Bouquet.
Bouquet. Miss Bouquet, have you operated a motor vehicle since you were found to be a habitual traffic violator?
No,
Who are those temporary disability placards for?
myself. And my son as well. My son has ADHD and asthmatic.
And have you successfully completed a rehab program?
Yes, I have.
And where was that program?
A regional mental health center.
State has no further questions.
Anything else, Mr.
A couple of Florence, you also completed the Picadose program in Porter County as a result of the
Yes,
as a result of those convictions?
Yes, and I still continue to do AA meetings as well,
That was my next question. You are also attending AA meetings?
Yes,
How often
regularly.
do you go to those?
twice a week.
And where do you normally go to those?
I go to Solution Seekers on Loop Road in Portage. My fiance drives me for those.
So you have continued your treatment insofar as the alcohol problems that you
Yes.
had had in the past, is that correct?
Yes,
Do you feel that at this point that you have made an adequate recovery?
desperately. I made it 360.
But you intend to continue the AA meetings as well?
Yes.
Correct. No other questions, Your Honor?
Anything from that prosecutor?
State has nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does she have insurance?
Pardon?
We asked her if she had insurance.
I did not ask her that. Do you have automobile insurance?
My fiance has full coverage on the vehicle.
The vehicles are his.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nothing further. Your
Nothing
Honor.
further, Your Honor.
Any objections to the granting of petition?
No objection, Your Honor. It appears she does qualify.
All right. Petition. Nancy, you have an order?
Your Honor, I prepared an order, but given her employment situation, I wasn't sure how to word it. The various jobs and fluctuating hours and the AA meetings. I have
How did you word it?
just the basic findings of fact, and insofar as the order, based on all of the above and foregoing findings of the court grants the petition filed herein and orders Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles to issue petitioner a hardship license authorizing her to travel from her residence located in Gary, Indiana, to her places, plural, places of employment, AA meetings, and her meetings and functions with the Marshalltown Terrace Committee of Gary, Indiana.
That's specific enough for the state?
It is, Your Honor.
All right.
That's sufficient. Into this the courthouse.
So, like,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Kevin Norgren versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 C01 1305 MI 67.
You just stand next to the
Brown appears on behalf of Mr. Norgren. Ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
Raise your right hand, sir. You solemnly swear affirm tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth and the best of your knowledge. So help you God. Be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Kevin Norgren,
And what is your date of birth?
December 4th, 1991.
And what is your social security number?
069807210.
And where do you currently reside?
12728 Cedar Lake Road, Crown Point, Indiana, 46307.
And your driver's license number is 3360128124, correct?
Correct.
And you are currently suspended for a no insurance accident and then a repeat insurance violation, correct?
Correct.
And when you were pulled over for the no insurance accident, were you notified by the police officers that you did not have valid insurance?
No.
And about how long after that no insurance accident did you actually find out that your insurance had lapsed?
About a month afterwards.
Okay. And back it up a little bit, about a week and a half after that no insurance accident, did you get pulled over again for speeding?
Correct.
And did the police officer mention to you at that point that you had no valid insurance?
No.
And as you stated, you found out about 5 weeks after the no insurance accident that you had no valid insurance, correct?
Correct.
And where are you currently employed?
At Mobile Generation, which is a Verizon wireless premium retailer, in the South Lake Mall, as well as in the Valparaiso location, which is located on Calumet Avenue in Valparaiso.
And how many miles approximately to each of these locations?
It's approximately 20 miles to and back on average that I travel. To the South Lake location, it's considerably more, about 15 to 18 miles to the Valparaiso location there and back.
And have you ever been suspended for a similar reason?
Beforehand, no.
And how are you getting to and from work at this point?
Currently, when available, I use my family, which does have me arrive at work multiple hours before my shift begins, or I have as well left 4 to 5 hours before work to attempt to walk there.
And has this been a hardship on you and your family?
Yes.
And when you were pulled over for this no insurance accident, you weren't working within the scope of your employment, were you?
No.
Okay. And do you have valid automobile insurance at this point now?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions, Judge.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Norgren, I'm just trying to get the right order of events here. That January, my apologies. The January 3rd offense date, that was a failure to provide insurance, correct?
Correct.
And then the January 21st of this year offense date, what was that?
Should also be the failure to provide insurance.
Okay. So at what point did you realize that your insurance had lapsed?
Sometime in February when I received a letter from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Okay. So you were aware that your insurance had lapsed in February, correct?
Correct.
You have a May 13th insurance violation. Is that correct?
Possibly. Yes.
And that was a failure to file insurance, a DO9 cause number?
If so, then yes, I apologize. I'm not familiar with the term of that.
Were you pulled over after you were aware that your license was that your insurance had lapsed?
Yes.
The state has no further questions, Your Honor.
You redirect.
Yes. Mr. Norgren, when were you pulled over last for no insurance?
This would be the last date that the prosecutor mentioned, which should be in May.
Okay. And you knew at that point that you didn't have insurance?
At the time, I believed that I had gotten insurance, but it turned out that an insurance payment had been received late. Therefore, I was then violating it and did not have insurance anymore.
So your insurance lapse at that point was inadvertent. You did not know when you were operating that vehicle that your insurance had lapsed, correct?
This is correct.
So you had no idea until basically the last few weeks that your insurance had lapsed, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Just a follow-up question, Your Honor. The March 14th of this year ticket for a no insurance accident, you were aware that you had no insurance at the time of that accident, is that correct?
I was not aware at that time.
Okay. I believe it was your testimony earlier that you had no insurance at the time of the January 3rd accident, and
Correct.
you realized you had no insurance approximately 5 weeks later. Was that at the time of that second accident? Or,
I do not recall a second accident, to be honest. I only recall being in one accident.
The state has no further questions, Your Honor.
Well,
If I could approach, I do have a copy of his driver's record noting a no insurance accident on March 14th of this year. as well as a failure to provide proof of insurance for an accident January 21st of this year.
No objection.
Whose fault was it? Oh, yes.
Mr. Norgren, I do have a few more questions for you. Whose fault was the no insurance accident that you had?
At the time, it was a vehicle in the other lane that had swerved into my lane. I swerved off the road to avoid collision, upon which I hit the ditch and a tree. When I had turned the other vehicle, it continued to move, so it was not my fault.
Okay. And you don't have any civil judgments against you
No.
that you know of?
No, none to my knowledge.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
So it was one vehicle accident, you hit another car.
Correct, and when I had turned around, I immediately dialed the police thinking that the other vehicle would have stayed, but the other vehicle had continued to travel.
I'll find that his failure to procure insurance was inadvertent.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, I will bring the
All right.
I will bring the order tomorrow to court.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can step down, sir. Frank Brandy versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1 1005 MI50.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Mr. Iraq appears for Mr. Brandy. Are you ready to see Mr. Iraq?
Yes, Your Honor.
Brandy, you want to take a stand, sir? Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear affirm, tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God. Please be seated.
Please state your name for the court.
Frank Brandis.
And Frank, you were granted a probationary license back in some time ago. Is that correct? Back in, your petition indicates that, 2011? 2010 was the original license, correct?
Yes.
And we applied one other time to modify the terms based on some change of employment that you had?
Yes, because my dad passed away in 2011, and my mom got put in a assisted living facility. But then I had to drive her around, so we had to amend that.
Okay. Now, now we file a second petition to modify those terms, and you've indicated it's because you've recently moved?
Yes.
Where did you live previously?
6201 Hayes Street, Maryville.
All right, where do you live now?
12963 Massachusetts Street in Crown Point.
All right, based upon that move, it's changed the routes to and from your course of employment?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to reflect those route changes to and from your new home to your place of business, is that correct?
Yes.
Where you work?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Toyota Marble on Route 30.
All right. That's the same place as you were working with the prior modification, correct?
Yes.
And you're also continuing to see the doctor. You had had a modification for your own health. You've got some heart issues,
That's cholesterol and just basic maintenance.
and you attend those appointments. You have to keep up regular appointments with that doctor.
Yes.
And those were contained within your last modification.
Yes.
You're asking the court to recognize an order to change the license for the transportation from you going to those appointments from your new home, correct?
Yes.
And lastly, are you asking the court to allow you to continue to take care of your mom and visit her in the assisted living facility?
Yes, and then take her to appointments and stuff.
And that route would be different than what was already in existence due to your
Yes.
new location? And lastly, are you asking that in the event of any emergencies that you be allowed to travel with your wife to Minster, Ohio, and that's where your mom's, your mother-in-law and sister-in-law live?
Yes.
And those are all necessary functions?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
The state has no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, you may step down, sir. Court grants a modification. Is there no objection to?
No objection to the modifications, Your Honor.
Brad Graven versus Scott Waddell, 45 CO1 1303 MI 47. Oh, Commissioner Motor Vehicles. Mr. Harris appears for Mr. Graven. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Harris?
Yes, Your Honor.
Graven, you want to take a stand?
Your Honor, I have an entry of appearance.
Okay, you can. Yeah, you are counsel for the record?
I represent the State Attorney General, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
And your name?
Eileen Cook.
Okay. Raise your right hand, sir. You solemnly swear a firm tell the truth, nothing but truth, so help you God? Yes. Please be seated. All right. You ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, if I speak loudly enough, this microphone will pick me up.
All right.
Sir, would you please state your name?
Brad Graves?
Mr. Graves, are you the petitioner in this case?
Yes.
Now, with my assistance, did you file a petition for judicial review concerning the Bureau of Motor Vehicles entering a driver's license suspension and a commercial driver's license disqualification?
Yes.
Now, is it your understanding that the Bureau has not yet provided an agency record to file with this court?
Yes.
Now, is it your testimony that pending a hearing on your petition that you are being prejudiced by this suspension of your driver's license and the disqualification of your CDL?
Yes.
Are you in jeopardy of losing your employment because of your lack of a CDL?
Yes.
And a driver's license?
Yes.
Now, the petition for judicial review that was filed says or alleges that the Bureau of Motor Vehicles acted unlawfully in entering a conviction from the state of Illinois on your driving record. Is that right?
That's correct.
And the suspension of your driver's license and the disqualification of your CDL are based on that entry of a conviction.
That's correct.
Now, you were in court in Illinois last year charged with driving under the influence. Is that right?
Yes.
Have you been convicted of that offense?
No.
Is that case still pending?
Yes.
The case has not yet been dismissed.
No.
Now, you entered into a supervision arrangement with the court and your attorney in Illinois?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that case will be dismissed if you comply with the terms of your supervision?
Yes.
And we attached to your petition for judicial review a copy of a court order from the court in which you appeared in Illinois. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that order says that you were not convicted of any offense?
That's correct.
But is it your understanding that the Bureau of Motor Vehicles took it upon itself to treat that as a conviction?
Indiana Motor?
Right.
Yes.
And do you believe, based on your advice you've been given, that there's a reasonable probability that the Bureau of Motor Vehicles' action in suspending your license and disqualifying your CDL will be set aside by this court?
Yes.
And are you willing to file a bond that the court may require that's conditioned upon your due prosecution of your petition for judicial review?
Yes.
And you have paid court costs for the filing of this case, is that right?
Yes.
If the court were not to grant your petition and set aside the suspension order and the CDL disqualification, would you abide by that order?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
I just have a few questions for you, Mr. Graves. Isn't it true that on October 17, 2012, you pled guilty to the offense of operating a per se of .08 alcohol concentration or above?
Yes.
And when you did you receive from the Bureau the letter from the General Counsel, Elizabeth Murphy, titled Reconsideration? It's dated February 22nd, 2013.
Through my attorney, I received a copy of that.
And you testified that you were willing to post a bond, but to date you have not posted a bond. Is that correct? Have you posted a bond in regards to your motion for stay?
I don't understand what you're asking.
You testified earlier that you are willing to post a bond. I just want to clear up for the record that you have not, as of yet, posted a bond.
Objection, Your Honor. He's not required to file one until the court orders an amount.
I'm just asking, has he?
He hasn't posted.
I just have a argument.
Okay. Anything else you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down, sir.
Your Honor, all we're asking for at this point is a stay. Obviously, the merits of the argument would be heard when the petition is heard, but again, the state has not yet given me the agency record, which is required, which I'm required to file with the court before we have a hearing on the petition to set aside the order.
Was there an administrative proceeding?
Yes. There's no allegation that he's not exhausted his administrative remedies. So the state is arguing in essence that the Bureau of Motor Vehicles can interpret what happened in Illinois as a conviction when it's not. When there's a specific order saying it's not a conviction, the case is still pending. He may have pled guilty, but his guilty plea was not accepted, Your Honor, and no conviction was entered. I don't believe that's disputed at all. But the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution requires the Bureau of Motor Vehicles to honor what occurred in the Illinois court. Their argument basically, maybe to oversimplify it, is to say, well, we have the authority to overrule that court order from Illinois. They don't, Your Honor. The full faith and credit clause requires, if they believe that's an erroneous order, go to the Illinois court and tell the Illinois court you don't have authority to do that. It's not for them to take upon themselves as an administrative agency to ignore a court order from another court, despite the fact that they believe there are federal regulations concerning commercial driver's licenses, which would say that what they're doing is valid. So, Your Honor, we would ask that the court grant the stay because he has testified as to harm that's occurring or will occur if the stay is not granted. And then the state is certainly free to make its argument on the hearing, at the hearing on the petition for judicial review of the action. But to not grant the stay based on some contention that, you know, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles in essence knows better than the court in Illinois, it's not warranted under the Constitution of the United States. Furthermore, the driver's license compact, which the Bureau is relying on, requires a conviction. And again, the Illinois court has said there is not a conviction, and it's not their role as an administrative agency to second guess that. If they think it's wrong, they can challenge it. I don't know what, they'd have to hire a lawyer in Illinois. I don't know how they would do that, but they're certainly free to do that, and they have. So we would ask the court to grant the stay and litigate the underlying issues at the hearing on the petition for judicial review. Thank you.
Your Honor, the BNB opposes the petition for stay for a few reasons. Under Indiana Code 4-21.5-5-9, in order to grant a stay, the petitioner and would have to show the court that there was a reasonable probability that the agency's action was invalid or illegal. And in the petitioner's petition and in the testimony today, the petitioner has not even addressed the federal regulations upon which the Bureau has based their decision and their agency action. The petitioner hasn't addressed it in any way, and the BNB's position is that when Illinois transmitted the report of supervision for the offense of operating per se 0.08 alcohol concentration or higher, the BNB was required to impose a mandatory commercial driving license disqualification. And in the reconsideration that the petitioner has submitted to the court, we lay out exactly which regulations, and I have those regulations if you want them today.
I have the reconsideration. Is that they're in the reconsideration letter?
Yes, it's the third paragraph, and then carrying over to the next page. It's the BNB's position that when Illinois when they sentenced but non-conviction disposition, petitioner was given what we're viewing as akin to a diversion program. And under 49 CFR 384.226, the state of Indiana can't mask that on his driving record. As to petitioner's non-conviction disposition, there are several court cases trying to figure out how to treat a non-conviction disposition. And there's one court case that I have for the court. It's Jackson versus Parker, and that's from the Eastern District, U.S. District Court in Illinois. And the case talks about a false arrest.
What's the site?
It has not been published in the federal supplement yet, but the Westlaw site is 2009 Westlaw 3464138, and that's Northern District of Illinois. October 26, 2009. And that was also affirmed by the 7th Circuit, and I have that site as well.
What's the 7th Circuit?
It's 627 F3D 634, and that's Federal Circuit 2010. Sorry, that's 7th Circuit 2010. And in that case, the case was about a person who was arrested and later was given a non-conviction disposition, and the person challenged their arrest as a false arrest and sued the officer who arrested them. And in dicta, the court said that Illinois courts reject the contention that supervision cannot be considered a conviction under any circumstances. And the other reason, this plays into our other reason for opposing the stay, is public policy supports the denial of the stay. The petitioner doesn't allege exactly what his harm is in employment, and there are significant concerns of public safety. He did plead guilty to operating per se .08 or higher. Both the federal regulations and the state of Indiana are concerned with .04 or higher. And so,
I would object that that's for a commercial vehicle. He was not driving a commercial vehicle at the time of his arrest in Illinois. And the .04 standard is for someone operating a commercial vehicle.
The reason I say that is just because our position, the EMD's position, is that we are required by the federal regulations that it's mandated that we disqualify his commercial driving license. So, Your Honor, for the reason that he has failed to meet the requirements of the stay, he has not shown a reasonable probability because he hasn't addressed the federal regulations. In addition, if you would grant the stay, we ask that you would require a bond to be posted. And then finally, public policy supports the denial of the stay.
Your Honor, very briefly in response, again, the Constitution trumps any federal regulation. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles, as an agency of the state of Indiana, is required to give full faith and credit to the order from the Illinois court, or from the Illinois court as he's not convicted. Thank you.
Does this regulation require a conviction?
Yes, Your Honor, as far as I know it does.
What is the effect of the stay, that he will have his driver's license?
Yes. Pending the court's final determination. Both the operator's license and the CDL, because the CDL is based on the operator's license.
And Your Honor, the Bureau would be willing to delete from his record the 90-day suspension for his baseline driver's license, but we still believe that our position is very strong regarding the mandatory commercial driving license disqualification per the federal regulations.
What is his job? What does he do?
I'm a lineman. I build power lines for a living.
Do you have to drive a commercial vehicle to do that?
Not 100% of the time, but it's a requirement of the position.
I might add, Your Honor, that position takes him to various locations all over the country, doesn't it?
Yeah, with tornadoes, hurricanes.
I'm going to take this under advisement. Review.
Would you like any supplemental briefs?
If you would.
Your Honor, on Friday I filed a second request for an extension of time to file the agency record because the Bureau of Motor Vehicles has not yet provided that. And I asked that we be given until July 1st. I'm trying to determine what the problem is, but it's
there.
Thank you.
10 days. Briefs. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, probably should have it's all together.
Susan Beard versus Commission of Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1 1304 MI 61.
Judge, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You ready to see Mr. Mullins?
Yes, Judge, we are.
You want to take a stand?
Very good.
Raise your right hand. Once you solemnly swear affirm tell all the truth, nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God.
Sue, if you would, please state your full name and spell your last name.
Susan Renee Bearden, Bearden.
And Sue, on April 18th, 2013, you filed a misquoted petition for restricted driver's license. Is that correct?
Yes.
You allege within that petition your age as well as a Lake County resident, and that you're a habitual violator under the 930-10-4B statute, which indicates that 3 majors within a 10-year period. Is that right?
Yes.
You acknowledge that you do not have a judgment against you under the IC 930-10-4A, which was vehicular homicide, manslaughter, that type of thing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then yes.
Yes.
You in fact have had your license suspended for at least 5 consecutive years, and that in fact began July 6, 2007. Is that correct?
Yes.
It has in fact been suspended since that time.
Yes.
You've not violated the terms of your suspension by operating a motor vehicle. Is that correct? There's nothing on your driving record that would reflect that since that HTV suspension. You've also purchased and sent out to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles your SR-22 filing. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And paid any reinstatement fees as well that would
yes.
take care of any open suspensions there. So you've indicated in your petition that you've had in fact fulfilled the requirements of the rehabilitation program, and that was true as a result of your most recent OWI back in 2007. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
You're requesting the petition for restricted driver's license to allow you to support your family. You are a married person, is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in fact, your husband Les, his company closed down. He had to secure additional employment that pays less money. Is that right?
Yes.
And you need a driver's license in order to be in a position to help support the family to maintain the economic status that you guys have had in the past.
Yes, I do.
I believe that's it on the statute.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Bearden, you testified that you did complete a rehab program.
Yes.
Where did you do that program?
I would imagine that would be jail time.
So did you complete a substance abuse rehabilitation program? An alcohol monitoring program, anything like that?
As of the last offense, I had 9 months in jail.
State has no further questions.
Sue, as it relates to your matter, Judge Villapando's program, that's where the most recent offense was.
Yes.
You were placed on probation after those 9 months.
Yes.
And it's my understanding, speaking to you, that Judge required you to do one of our local programs, the Toledo's ABCS.
Oh, yes, yes.
Which program was that? That's what the prosecutor asked you.
It's been so long.
Do you remember the location where you're in Lake County?
Rensselaer, I'm thinking.
Ryan?
Yes.
You were down in the village then, correct?
Right, yes.
So you did it down in Ryan.
Yes.
Right. I think there's a program down out of Jasper.
If I recall, yes, that's what it was called, yeah.
That's correct.
Anything else, Madam Prosecutor?
No further questions, Your Honor.
You missed that, though. Any arguments?
No, Your Honor. Since it does appear that she did complete a rehabilitation program, it does appear that she qualifies under the statute.
Very good. Let me approach.
Adam Shropshire versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 C01, 1301, MI 58.
Afternoon.
Oh, wait.
Mr. Shropshire's petition, I was just going to request a new date.
Okay. What are we hearing? What are we hearing? How much time do you need?
Approximately, what I was going to ask for is if you have a date in late July, do you have a second and fourth Tuesdays? Is that what it is?
Yeah, what's the fourth Tuesday?
Is the 23rd of July available?
Be fine.
Okay, thank you.
You said this was July 23rd. You'll submit something or run submit CCS?
I can, yes. Is it okay to get that over here tomorrow, Judge?
That'd be fine.
Thank you.
Ishmael Avila versus the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 C01, 1204, MI 66. Avila, is that yours? No. Ishmael Avila. Derek Lynn Bowling versus Bernard Carter, 45 C01, 1305, MI 70.
We're ready to proceed, sir.
Stitch Pierce for. Want to take a stand, sir? Raise your right hand. Sworn. Solemnly swear affirm. Tell the whole truth and nothing but truth, the best of your knowledge. So help you God. Yes. Please be seated.
Sir, can you state spell your name for the record?
Derek Bowling, DERRICK BOWLING.
And your date of birth, Derek?
12372.
How old are you?
41.
Where do you currently reside?
920 West 56th Place.
Okay. And you filed a petition for a restricted driver's license because of hardship, is that correct?
Yes.
I think there was an oversight when we initially filed the petition. You've been employed for the last 16 years?
Yes.
Where at?
Valparaiso, making car parts at UGN.
Okay. Do you know the address off the top of your head?
2252 Industrial Drive.
Okay. And you drive from that residence in Maryville at 920 West 56th?
Yes.
Okay. And what are your work hours?
Usually I work days from 6 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Okay. Sometimes it's required that I go in 4 hours early, or had to stay 4 hours late to cover a team leader or something like that.
Is that about the same schedule week to week?
Yes.
Okay. And you also have some health concerns that you have to go to a doctor for?
Yes.
And what are those health concerns?
I have a blood disease, so I have to get treated. I have to go take medicine if I don't get hospitalized and stuff like that to get my prescriptions refilled and checkups.
And where's your doctor located?
In Gary. And I got an office in Monster.
All right. And you're currently suspended. You have one current active suspension. That's for an unpaid judgment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it's my understanding that you did have insurance coverage when that accident took place. They just didn't step up and pay the claim, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you also went through a bankruptcy proceeding, correct?
Yes.
And who was your attorney?
Peter Francis Grayson.
And it was your understanding that debt was included on the credit matrix?
Yes, it was included in that.
But for whatever reason, it's still showing suspended, is that correct?
Yes.
And your motor vehicle is necessary in order to get to your job and get to your doctor's appointment?
Excuse me?
Your motor vehicles without substitutes needed in order to get to work to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. And you have current insurance now, is that correct?
Yes.
That's attached to the petition?
Yes.
Nothing further, Judge.
Sir, your most recent driving while suspended, what was the effective date on that?
I'm going to say probably in February or March or something like that.
Of this year?
Yes.
Did you also have a driving while suspended in Hobart City Court in October of last year, October 2012?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So you were operating a motor vehicle after your suspension for the unsatisfied judgment, which was to last until July of 2017?
Yes, at the time of the bankruptcy, I took care of the judgment, so I didn't know I was still suspended.
Do you also have failure to pay suspensions on your driver's record?
Not that I know of.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Just argument, Judge.
Pardon me?
Just argument, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Judge, ideally we're working on resolving the unsatisfied judgment. It should have been terminated in that bankruptcy proceeding. I'm trying to look for.
Well, where's the discharge for the bankruptcy?
Excuse me?
Did you provide a bankruptcy discharge? Is there a discharge anywhere?
Excuse me?
Where's the discharge paper?
I wasn't given no discharge at the time.
He used, I think, Peter Francis Therese, who's one of those nationwide attorneys. I think he called the Chicago office. He's never actually spoken to the attorney. And it appears they just dropped the ball in the bankruptcy proceeding.
So, wait, is he discharged or not? You don't know?
I believe everything else was discharged, correct?
Yes, to my understanding.
Well, then why wasn't this?
It should have been. That's what. Ultimately, I'm going to try and. I was hoping to get the hardship license issued and then work on getting him full privileges. The primary concern is letting him get to his doctor's appointments and work. And then I don't do bankruptcy work now, but I'm going to work with the local council and see if we can't get that amended. Derek has insurance. I don't think he's a risk. I do have a proposed order, but I'd like to fine-tune it and put the exact route he'll be driving and the reasons why, and present that to the court later today or tomorrow morning, Your Honor.
Prosecutor.
Your Honor, the state would have to object. We have no proof that this judgment was to be discharged. He did pick up a driving while suspended post his discharge. He was operating a motor vehicle while he was not supposed to be.
We don't know when he was discharged, so we don't know if he was operating.
Well, I'm sorry. The judgment for the accident is in 2010, and there's a 2012 driving while suspended on the driving record.
Right, he said he was discharged. Before that, he believed he was discharged before he got...
His other debts were, this one wasn't.
We need to clear that up before we can issue.
Okay. Would you like to just set this over and...
Set it over for... what's that, July... What's that last Tuesday? 23rd. July 23rd.
July 23rd? Is that a 2 o'clock setting, Your Honor?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
You get the discharge, that should take care of it.
It should. Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe try and call to them and see what